So I'm back again here at Saltwater Edge with Steve for another interview. Steve McKenna, excuse me, in case you need his last name. And actually, you may not have heard this, though I think a lot of people did. Steve got another 50-pounder last season. Steve, how old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
74.
He's got another 50-pounder at 74 years old, something I hope we all can aspire to, for sure. And I think it's pretty impressive, honestly.
Thank you.
And can you just talk to us about the preparation that went into catching that 50-pounder and what the situation was like, sort of just the story of it, from what you can tell us?
Yeah, sure. It's sensitive information, I guess. But what I can say is that every time I leave my house to go fishing, I'm prepared to catch a big fish. I pay close attention to detail, almost to, an extent where I don't have to do that, but I do. And I prepare. My experience has taught me where and when to go. And I'm ready for a big fish when I go fishing.
Every time?
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time I make a cast, I'm satisfied with my knots. I'm satisfied with what I'm using. I'm confident with what I'm using. With the exception of trying new lures and baits or whatever that I don't know about, which I don't do that often anymore. I kind of stick with the basics or what I'm confident in, and that's what I do every time I leave the house.
Yeah, nice. So what was it about? Well, here's the question: were you thinking tonight could be the night? Did you think it had that kind of potential? At this time of the year when I caught the bass, yes, it is a possibility. Not that I'm thinking 50 pounds, but I'm thinking 40 pounds. Okay.
I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
And that to me is a very successful trip. If I can catch a fish 40 pounds or better, and the time of the year, there's a lot. Well, there's a lot. There's plenty of them around to catch.
Yeah. So. Wasn't this fish also a significant number in terms of the number of 40s you caught as well, if I remember correctly?
Well, you mean fish over 40 pounds?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it was 85.
Yeah. That's a pretty remarkable
number
as well.
I've caught 85 40s and 2 50s.
Yeah, that's amazing.
In my my surf fishing.
So what did you catch the 50 on?
I caught it on a Super Strike needle, purple color, the 7-inch, 1 3/4 ounce model. A plug that I do fish a lot.
You fish that a lot?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Do you fish it? Well, let me ask you this: when you caught the fish, how were you fishing it? And is it normal? Is that the normal way you fish it?
Okay, most of the time I'm fishing. What I do is I rotate 3 or 4 plugs. And I fish rig deals a lot. So I'll start out with a rig deal, and depending on how it goes, if the fish are in, if I'm starting to catch fish immediately, well then of course I'm going to leave the rig deal on. And then maybe if I get tired of catching fish on a rig deal, I'll try something else. But generally what I do is if it's fishing is slow or a pick, I'll try the rig deal first, then I'll try a Super Strike darter, which I fish a lot also, and a Super Strike needle. And then I'll just rotate. I'll just keep going with those 3. And usually, if there's a fish in the area, you're going to catch them. You're going to catch them on one or all. And this situation, I had just taken off, or this incident when I caught the large fish, I had just taken off the rig deal, and it was my first cast with the Super Strike needle.
Oh, no kidding.
And it was a light hit. Set the hook, and the fish took off. And I'll be honest, I caught a lot of bass in my day, and it gave me trouble. It gave me a lot of trouble. I was using a 200 Van Stall with 30-pound line, braid, and a Loomis, Century stealth,
Okay.
10.6,
Okay.
10'6", 2 to 5, I believe. So, and that's, I get the fish in. I saw it. I knew it was huge. I knew it was in the 50s. I seen a lot of big fish, and I said, "Wow!" I was just ecstatic. I'm happy. I mean, from when I started fishing in 1973, my main goal was to catch a 50-pounder, because that's what everybody talked about.
Right. Right.
Today may be a little different. I don't know. I hear a lot about inches, not pounds. But back then, it was a 50-pounder. That was the, sub 4-minute mile, the hole in one, the no hitter. It doesn't happen very often.
That's right.
So I'm lucky to say that I've caught 2 so far.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
and the other one was on a needlefish also.
It was?
Yes.
What needlefish was
it? It was
that?
on a Gibbs.
Oh,
a
okay.
Gibbs needlefish.
Nice. So when you're fishing the Super Strike needle,
yes,
how do you generally fish it? Or is it very spot specific?
I fish it a lot in a lot of different places. It's a regular in my lineup. I modify it a little bit. I put 4.0 hooks on it. I use 4X VMCs with good split rings. I use Roscoe or Ona hyper wire. I think Roscoe's a size 6.5, I think. And the hyper wire, I think 6 or 7. I can't remember. I've been using Roscoe's, not Roscoe,
Yeah.
Roscoe's.
Yes.
I like them.
Yeah, me too.
Because that's actually the split ring that comes on Super Strike
Yeah.
lures.
Yes,
they're
good.
very quality.
Yes.
Product
great.
on. So I do. It comes with a 3.0, but I put a 4.0 on it, and
I do the same.
yeah, and it works out, And I used to use, I'll be honest, a single side wash with some feathers or some bucktail on the tail, but I found myself missing hits. As soon as I changed to the treble, I started hooking up more.
Okay.
My ratio was dramatically better. So now I fish with the two trebles. I know that's kind of taboo these days, but when I go fishing, I want to catch fish.
Yeah.
And I'm careful. I get them in as fast as I can, and I release them. I try to release them as safely as possible.
What about the retrieve for the Super Strike?
Very slow. I know everybody says real slow or slow down. I reel slow. A guy told me last year I reeled too fast.
Okay.
So I do reel. I keep the rod at an angle, say 40 degrees, 45 degrees, real slow, and most needles, particularly the Super Strike, will come right up, and it'll wake the water, the top of the water, or just run right below.
Yeah, so pretty high in the water column then.
Yeah, well, this place where I caught it was pretty shallow.
Okay.
A boulder field, and it's perfect needlefish water.
Yeah.
Perfect killing spot for bass.
Yeah.
The bass use it.
So if someone wants to go out and catch their 50 this season,
Yeah.
if you could give them one tip or a couple or whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
what would it be?
Okay, I would say fish after dark.
Okay.
Fish all northeast storms.
Okay.
Before and after. Not so much, you don't have to fish in the teeth of it, but I've caught a lot of big fish right after a northeaster blows through, like the next clearing wind, and fish live eels or rigged eels. Plugs work great, but if I had to bet the rent money on something, I would use an eel or a rigged eel.
Yeah.
Which I do. I don't use live eels at all anymore. I use rigged eels. I know everybody knows me from the sluggo, and I do like the sluggo. I do use it occasionally now, but I find the rigged eel is a little bit better, a little more versatile. So I would say use that and fish as much as you can.
Always good advice. Yeah. And even as someone who doesn't fish eels, I agree with you. If I had to pay the rent money, I know what I would be doing as well. There's no real replacement for it.
No, and I'm of the ilk where I think anybody getting into wanting to catch fish, stripers, try a live eel. Just try it, see what it's all about, and you'll see the magic of them. Like Dennis mentioned earlier, Dennis Ambrata mentioned, sometimes bass just won't hit a plug, and they want something alive or, fresh dead.
Yeah, it is very interesting though that it was your very first cast, you said, with the Super Strike.
You're right after the yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, the reason why I use needles and darters in conjunction with the rigged eel is I cover more water with the needle and the Super Strike darter. They both cast better than a rigged eel. So the spot where we're fishing, a longer cast sometimes is needed.
So potentially that fish could have followed it in from further out. And that could have
Yeah,
been the difference.
yeah. The fish hit like 2 cranks.
Oh,
of the reel.
yeah.
And it was in moving water. The lure was swinging. I could feel it swinging as I was reeling, and I had tension, which you don't always get a lot when you're fishing a needle. And the water was calm. It was pretty calm.
Mm-hmm.
So I could feel the tension, and I knew I was in some productive water.
Yeah.
And we had done well the night before. I had a 36 the night before, and we caught some fish in the 20s and some smaller fish. So of course we went, and I almost didn't go back. I was tired. I said, I was happy with the 36 pounder. I said, that's great. And luckily I went back.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, it was in the cards, I mean, I put in a lot of time over the years and, it was my night,
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
it happened to anybody.
Yeah, that's right. And hopefully this season it happens to you, and look for more videos coming from Steve real soon.